again because I forgot to go live. So once again, here we are live with Gila Slonim, the amazing Gila Slonim, who has, am I pronouncing your name right? I'm assuming I am. Cool. Who creates magic.
Don't know about that.
No, you take something that we take for granted, that some of us think are a little woo about crystals and healing, and you make it real and you make it something that we can relate to and resonates with us. And I think that is remarkable.
Yeah.
So
that's actually one of my things, is to take these like object. This is like just a crystal or just a crystal, but they're not just crystals. They're way more than that. Well, crystals, another name for crystals is actually minerals, because they're full of minerals. And that's what they are. And therefore, we're actually attracted to the crystal that's good for us. And each crystal has a meaning, has significance. So it's just like amazing. And that's why it's such an interesting world when you see people choose things, and then I can tell them all sorts of things. I understand all sorts of things about somebody. And it's not because I have any upper or higher knowledge. It's just because crystals talk, actually, in a sense.
And they talk to us as well.
They do.
As I was saying before, I forgot to press the go live button. I personally have a special affinity to crystals. My father, who was a diamond cutter by trade, but his love was crystals and minerals and color. I think I got my love of color from him. And he died when I was 13, but we used to talk about color and crystals, and he instilled in me a love for them. So I think, when I heard that this is what you're doing, I was like, yes, yes, yes. And I love them. And I used to do stuff with them, and I had my little crystal collection, but I never got the whole picture. It's like, okay, turquoise is beautiful and amethyst heals, but there's a whole world out there.
Exactly. I think that's for most of us and most people, even though people are becoming more aware today. But I think most people love their crystals and have their crystal bowls with all different things in it and colors. And suddenly they start to hear, wow, this is going to tell me that you're feeling a bit down. This is going to help you with self-confidence. If you need to give a speech today, for example, grab your blue lace agate is a great stone for helping you talk and to say what you want to say in the best way, which means that I'm going to be holding that with me today. So it's a huge world, and what can be done with the crystals and what can be understood through the crystals, it's just huge.
Yeah. But there's so much, it's huge, but it's funny because how big is a crystal?
Depends.
But in terms of, if I come for treatment by you, if I come, I like you have your platter of crystals. It's something, it's small. I put it in my hand and it makes me feel better.
No doubt. I have people that come to me and they choose their crystals because they want to understand more. They want me to help them with various issues. And when they leave, there are certain crystals that they just couldn't leave without, and as you say, in their hand, the kids, and kids love them, and it goes so well for kids because it's pretty and colorful, and in such a gentle way, really helping them.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. They're really, I say, Marabu Ma'asecha Hashem, how great are the wonders of God. And I actually call these Trufot of Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem's medications, because they have such a wonderful way of healing and medicating us,
Yeah. And they did, yeah, and it's not something that we think about.
No.
That's kind of...
But yeah,
exactly. Okay, it's not something I think about.
The regular Yogi Bear, as we say. Yes, of course, who would think?
Well,
Mm.
yeah, and I don't know about anybody else who's listening, but when I think of crystals, you have that whole Children of the 60s vibe going on there. And that's not what this is. This
Oh,
isn't woo. It's not, this is real. This works.
yeah, it's seriously real. And I think, first of all, it's got a basis in the Torah. It's not just, like you can see, I'm a religious woman. Obviously, first it had to be in line with Torah, and it had to be, I say, kosher in inverted commas. And then, that's what we first. So we're first introduced to the Torah with the Kohen Gadol. That's what he wore on his breastplate with the 12 Avnei HaHoshen. You see
Good.
actually behind me, I have,
I see it in your background. I love
yeah.
that.
So that's number one. We see it there. And then, for me, there's also a strong representation there because I don't know if you can see it up there, but all the Avnei HaHoshen are different stones, 12 different stones representing the 12 different tribes. So we've got there a diamond, and we've got there an amethyst and a ruby and an emerald in their Torah names. But we know the different ones: green, red, different colors of all different types. And I think that represents a Jewish nation. The differences, we're all different. One's red, one's green, one's purple. It doesn't really matter. But we're one nation on the Hoshen of the high priest. That's what the high priest wore. This was the garment that was closest to his heart. And that's what he was wearing, the whole Jewish nation all together in one. So to me, it speaks volumes also about a message of unity of the Jewish people. So I
Wow.
love it. Yeah.
Love that. I really love that. That's just gives you the feeling of, this, it's the unity in belonging and still keeping your individuality.
Exactly. And that's why even, there's a little square for each one. Each tribe has its own little square. So keeping your individuality and being as you are, but being part of that one unit of the Jewish nation. It's great. Okay, we're a bit
Okay.
frozen.
We froze for a second. We're back.
Great.
Back.
That's the way of the world. I think we're all used to it. It happens. We freeze.
We freeze.
Yeah.
But yeah, and, it's funny because I think a lot of us were drawn to certain stones because of the color. Because of, I don't even know. For me, it's color, but that's my shtick. Um, but color speaks to us. I know even when I'm dressing someone, you look at, everybody has a color that they're drawn to. How much of that does that tie into stones? Um,
Yeah, it ties in actually a lot. When people say to me, Gila, I love blues. I'm a blue person, so I'm going to be choosing lots of blue stones. So I understand that. And I say to people, fine, whatever you want, choose, just feel free. And so they're going to choose stones, and chances are they'll have more blue stones. If I say blue, if they've got lots of blue, we work with the energy centers. And each energy center, or chakra, as it's known in Sanskrit, where it comes from, is represented by a color. So if, let's say, we're talking about blue and someone's got lots of blue stones, it talks to me about the throat. Or purple, which is like one of my favorites, is the third brow, which is here, which is our spirituality. So it talks to
what
us
about
about
green?
green is our heart. There are actually two
See,
colors of heart. We've got pink and green.
because green, I wear a lot of blue, but I gravitate towards green.
Yeah.
Green is my favorite color, and I love, emeralds and peridots and and the jades. I tend to go towards the greens. And yeah, I know I'm wearing turquoise, but that's because it matches my hair. I couldn't get a good green this time. But greens and blues. So it's always, to me, it's fascinating. But when I was little, I always went for red.
It's interesting, but I want to tell you something. When it comes to do like really working with people with the crystals, after they've given me their whole speech, and I open up, like my over 100 different stones, and they start to choose them, they're not necessarily choosing those because even though I love blue, let's say, you see this stone here, and you say, oh my gosh, the way it lights up, and whatever else it is, I need to have that one, or this one works for me. So there's one thing about loving a color and what it talks about, but when you actually choose stones and the colors have a significance, but people choose a broader range of colors than they usually anticipate.
That's so interesting.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, it's fascinating.
So if you would, how do you work? What's your process?
So it goes like this. I have like 5 boxes of stones with, as I said, over 100 different types of stones. And I just open them up for people and let them choose whatever they want. So choose whatever you like here. It's like going to a candy shop, and people choose, as much as they want. And then I lay out the stones in a certain way in accordance with the color, as we were discussing, because that gives me an understanding of what's going on for a person energetically. Need to arrange it that way. And then I get a picture of this person. It's like almost like an X-ray into their well-being, physical, emotional, spiritual. It's like amazing. So, and then I feedback, I share with a person what's going on. And then through the stones themselves, I'm actually able to treat somebody. So if I give you an example, because it's like pretty
Please.
challenging to understand what I'm talking about. Let's say I had a little girl, about 10 years, she was 10 years old or something, and her mum said to me, she's just not doing well in school. She was an intelligent girl. She had, in theory, everything was going for her, but she just wasn't so happy. So I did this assessment on her, and what I did was I gave her stones afterwards to use. Now you're going to say, how does a 10-year-old kid use stones? So there's an interesting thing that we do with them. We can take crystals and put them into a glass of water. Not all crystals, and that itself is a whole Torah which you need to start to understand. But I gave her a glass with different crystals in it, which were the crystals that she needed her to make her happier and to make her more sociable, etc. And she would drink this glass of, I call it stone water, every day. And what happened was the teacher rang the mother. The teacher had no idea, but the teacher rang the mother. And she says to her, Mrs. whatever her name is, your daughter is doing really well in school. She's so much happier and she's so much more sociable, etc. I was like, wow. And the teacher kept on calling her to tell her how well her daughter was doing. So it's like amazing, as I said, shufot of Hakadosh Baruch Hu's medications.
It's energy. It's very funny because there are all these alternative forms of energy of treatment. You have Reiki, but they're all energy based, and people are so quick to, less now, but people were very quick to poo-poo them because what is this energy stuff? There's so much we don't understand about the world around us. It's kind of, you say you put them in water. I think homeopathic remedies, which are so diluted out that there isn't even a molecule left in the remedy, and they work because there is another level that we don't really understand. There are other dimensions that occupy our world, and these are energetic dimensions that help heal us.
Absolutely. I agree there's energy. Look, we have frequencies and crystals emit frequencies. And through our subconscious, we're choosing them. And these frequencies are so strong and amazing. But I want to tell you that the Shlah HaKadosh, which is interesting, like now before Shavuot, there's a special tefillah of the Shlah HaKadosh that we say on Rosh Chodesh Sivan for the well-being of our children. Right? That's just coming up on Wednesday, exactly. So anyway, he said that when we don't understand, and he was referring to stones, crystals, whatever you want to call them, he said when you don't understand how something works, but you know that it works, then it's called a segula, right? And that's what he said about it. I was like, wow. And that's, yeah. So if we don't understand it, we can call it a schooler. But there is more understanding today of frequencies and how they affect us, and working with frequencies. There is a larger understanding. But I say to people,
So cool.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's really, it's so interesting. I feel like there's so much more we can go into this. Um, and I'd really, well, first of all, I want to thank you for your patience with all our technical issues in the beginning. In the first comment, for those of you that are watching or coming on afterwards, there is a link to, Gila, you want to tell us what the link is for? You're on a panel discussion?
Correct. I do. I try to do every so often before the Chagim a panel on something specific. And this month I want to do it on Let Your Light Shine Forth, because I think Shavuot is a month of light because the Torah is light. And if we think about it, the emerald, which is Shevet Levi, the tribe of Levi, and the tribe of Levi was known for learning Torah. And the Torah was the light of the Jewish nation, is the light of the Jewish nation. And the emerald also is a crystal which helps our vision. If somebody has an issue with vision, it helps the vision. And also in the time of Noah, in his ark, there was a barek, an emerald that was in a tzohar, in a specific place down the bottom where the animals were. It was dark and it gave them light. So this is the month, I think, of light. So I want everybody to let their light shine forth. So I've invited two special guests. One actually is in Canada and one is in Philadelphia. And they're going to be talking about their own inner light and how this has brought them to do what they're doing today. I think it's going to be very interesting. And I will share my story of how I got to my light, which I think is, working with the crystals is like my light, and how it's my passion and it spurs me on. And when it's something that you love and something that you're passionate about, we do it so much better and with so much joy, and we can pass it on so well. So this panel will be very interesting. And I keep it to 45 minutes, and people love it. So I'd love to have you there. It's a free panel, so just join. Okay.
I will follow the link and I will be there. I think that's awesome. And I will.
Great.
It's good. It sounds like such great fun. There's so much out there. And I love the idea of light and bringing light and shining our light onto the world.
Exactly. We've all got so much to share. So, we'll make it a better world, all of us together.
That is, couldn't have said it better myself. And we will have, it was funny. It was 17 years ago now. I stood up in a seminar in New York and I said, I stand for peace in the Middle East. And one of the people in the seminar looked at me, he's like, isn't that too big? And I'm like, nope, it's not too big. Because that's the start of it all. We get peace in the Middle East, we get peace in the world, and Sheikh comes.
Amen.
So let's make that happen. So Gila, thank you so much. Thank you for being patient with everything. And this was it was a joy having you on. This conversation just kind of opens up a whole new world, a world that I kind of knew was over there, but now I'm like, now I want to see this and I want to learn more.
Great. Love to have you. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Really my pleasure. I'd like to do this again sometime, but we'll talk about that. And I promise no technical issues next time.
Neither. And if it happens, that's life. I think we have to using computers, not face to face. There are technical issues. Nothing worse.
Yes, nothing should be worse. Thank you again. We'll be in touch, and I'll see you at the panel. Bye for now.
Bye. See you.